Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about Cali Muscle. And if you didn't know, Cali Muscle was one of probably the original YouTube fitness guys. I think his channel's maybe around 10 years old, something like that. And he recently, I think like 3 or 4 days ago, had a heart attack due to plaque buildup in his arteries. And this guy, if you didn't know, was one of like the biggest subjects of Natty or Not videos, especially back in the day. I mean, everyone would make videos. Is this guy natural? Is he on steroids? And pretty much everyone came to consensus that the guy's on steroids. I mean, he's too big, he's too jacked, and he's just too ripped to possibly be natural. All right. Now, granted, the guy has amazing genetics. He works really hard in the gym, but he's clearly taking steroids. So after his heart attack, um, it was kind of, and the talk about plaque buildup in his arteries, it was a little bit of confirmation that he was in fact taking steroids, or at least had been for some point in time. So he just came out with a video, and I'm going to react to it. And he basically breaks down what some of the things he was taking and what caused his heart attack. So let's get into the video. All right, so in this first section, he kind of hints he's putting on some sort of like shocking device that he says will shock him if he has a heart attack. I don't know exactly what it is, but he also says it transmits data back to the hospital. I know about those, but I didn't know that there's like a defibrillator that you can actually wear 24/7. But he drops a little hint right here in the first minute of the video. So let's watch.
The nurses was like, "Does somebody look like you in here?" Hey, baby, man, too much testosterone is what it do to you. We got the vest here.
All right, yeah. So right there, he says, too much testosterone, that'll put you in the hospital. Um, so that's kind of an admission from him. He never would ever talk about that before. He always said, "Oh, I'm all natural. I'm not on anything. This is just genetics." And yeah, right there, there's a little bit of a tell-all. But he goes into it in much more depth later on. So let's get to that part.
Yeah, so you got to put these plates up in here, and that's what
Yeah, so he's
electrocutes
talking
you.
about his
This
plates.
goes around my waist, so it's gonna hook up to or something, shock you back to life. And this thing heavy. I can get my little that battery up in there. Gotta put it that way. Oh, come on, it's best. So yeah, this is a battery charger. This one's fully charged already. So this is a little Wi-Fi thing that goes to the office. So they know they're reading my stats at this office that supply this. So I
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I didn't know that they had stuff that would, transmit your info back to the doctor or the office or whoever's watching it. That's really advanced stuff. So, it's good that he has that. Hopefully, it'll save him if he has one in the future. He can get to the hospital quicker, or they can even tell him maybe before it happens.
was not. They was at a hospital like, you had to take these pills twice a day. I'm like, hey, little mama. I was taking that Winnie Var like 3-4 times a day. Come on, man.
Yeah, so there he's saying, he's used to taking pills. So he mentions Winnie and Var, which is basically short for Winstrol, and Anavar, which are two common oral anabolic steroids that a lot of bodybuilders use. So right there again, he gets a little more specific and talks about some of the things he was taking. But later on, he actually kind of admits to it fully. He's not just joking around. So let's get to that part.
For those who don't know my story, as a kid, I was in the sports, football, wrestling, track. Went to college, boom, boom, boom. Got in trouble in college. I went to Fresno State, got in trouble. Ended up going to prison. But I already went to prison. I already we'll put my 19-year-old physique in here. I always was fit, buff, like unbelievably buff. I look like a bodybuilder. When I got out of prison, but I already went to prison. I already we'll put my 19-year-old physique in here. I always was fit, buff.
Yeah, check the nipple rings. Yeah, so he basically talks about he always was playing sports, football, wrestling. He was always in good shape, and he claims that this was him natural. Now, this I don't really know. I mean, that might be pushing it, dude. That guy, granted, the guy has fantastic genetics and he has worked out his entire life, but this is a little bit extreme, maybe. It's definitely possible, though. I mean, I wouldn't want to say one way or another. You know, take it with a grain of salt, though. Now, look, it's good that the guy's kind of coming out now, but you got to keep in mind, he kind of lied about this, or he did lie about this for a decade. And we'll talk about that a little later, you know, if that's ethical or not ethical. So, but just keep in mind, take everything that he says with a grain of salt.
Like, unbelievably buff. I look like a bodybuilder. When I got out of prison, I did 1994 to 2001. I got out. I got into becoming a personal trainer and a stripper. Did well with that, but I became...
I didn't know he was a stripper. That's interesting. I wonder where he was. If it was Vegas or some other place, but all right.
I'm a recidivist. Went back to prison 4 times. After that 4th time, I was like, let me try something new. Let me try some bodybuilding or something, because I had a lot of money saved. That's when my curiosity of steads, peds, roids, whatever you want to call them, came into play.
So, I don't know what steads means, but PEDs, I'm sure he's talking about PEDs, which is performance-enhancing drugs, which is like, you know, steroids fall into that category. Not all PEDs are steroids, but steroids are PEDs. That makes sense.
Buddy of mine was like, if I did them, I would be a top athlete. So I'm like, shoot. You know, coming from prison, I talk down to bodybuilders and people that use roids and all that, like everybody else is probably watching. You know, I was one of those guys. That's why I understand you guys. So I started testing the waters. I had bought all the books. I had Googled every day. I used to Google 8 hours a day. So I did my first show, Orange County Classic, 2009, won first place out of 20 athletes. I said, we got something here.
Yeah, so 2009, there wasn't quite as much information back then as there is now, you know. I remember there was like these message boards back in the day that were kind of similar to Reddit, but without like any images really or video. And people would like basically share their stories and their kind of recommendations about what to take.
So I just kept progressing with the studies, kept meeting people. It was going good. You know what I mean? I was getting buffer. I was making a name for myself on the internet. 2014, I did the West Coast Classic. Won that heavyweight. So I
Yeah, so that time span he's talking about, 2009 to 2014, I think that's when his channel was really starting to blow up. I remember he was in some commercials, and I think he was even in a movie. I'm not sure exactly what movie, but I remember something about that. So, yeah, that's when he was really starting to get famous, and he was even bigger than he is now at that point in time.
Contacted a few of the top elite nutrition experts, gurus we call them, in the business. They sent me a list of stuff I would have to take a day. I said, this sport is not for me. I was still concerned about my health. I was up in age. I was about 36 years old. And
yeah, so he probably got a cutting cycle of some sort from, like he's talking about, some sort of guru. You know, he doesn't name who it is. And, yeah, I've seen a lot of these, like, kind of cycles online that these people talk about what they take, and it's a lot of stuff, man. I mean, to get into shape for a bodybuilding show, an enhanced one, you know, it's no joke the amount of stuff you got to take. So he sounds like he kind of got cold feet to maybe move up to the next level in pro bodybuilding. I don't think he ever got his pro card. So it sounds like he really needed to win a qualifying show. He didn't want to go there with the steroids, which is totally understandable. And like he said, you know, to make money from an actual bodybuilding show, you really have to be in the top like 5% of pro bodybuilders, or even higher than that. A lot of these guys don't make anything. They get money from sponsors. They get money from, you know, social media, selling supplements, that kind of thing. But actually winning bodybuilding shows, a lot of times it doesn't make you much. Everyone sees kind of like Mr. Olympia. He wins $400,000 when he wins, but below that it drops off really quick. Trust me. And a lot of these pro shows, you know, you might win $10,000 if you're the winner, but you got to spend a lot of money just to get to that point. So he kind of did the math, it sounds like.
And so I was like, nah. At that point, I knew it wasn't a lot of money in bodybuilding. Well, it's not no money, just being honest. It's gonna hurt feelings, but it's the truth. Y'all know. That's why you need somebody to sponsor you, because you're broke. So I was like, nah, it ain't worth it. Let me just focus on my YouTube and social media. At that point, I was like, I don't need to be on all this stuff. So I got on a TRT, which for me was like 1 cc of testosterone every 10 days.
Yeah, so 1 cc of testosterone is about 200 to 250 milligrams. So he's taking it every 10 days. So that means he's anywhere from 140 to 175 milligrams a week, which is like, that's basically like a medium high TRT dose. So sounds like after he stopped cycling steroids, he had shut down his natural testosterone production and just decided to hop on TRT. One thing you might want to note is taking it every 10 days, a shot every 10 days, generally isn't the best way to do it. It's better to break it up and take it like twice a week. So you take it every like 3.5, 4 days, and that way your blood levels stay a little more constant. But this was what did he say, 2016? So maybe he was just going to a clinic and having it done there. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I wanted to have kids, so I went to an IVF clinic, did all the tests, saw that my sperm was 0. For me, I thought I was always taking a minimal amount of pads or whatever, steds, whatever you want to call it, juice. So evidently not. It shut my sperm down completely. So I went to the IVF doctor in Vegas. They gave me a package, stack, whatever, of to get my sperm back up. That's why you guys see when I was in Vegas in 2017, I came down to like 198 pounds. Steroids for about 1.5 years, because once she got pregnant, I was like, it's time to blast off. So my girl got pregnant in 2018, I want to say. That's why I slimmed down, trimmed down. The video why I lost my size was.
All right, now this looks like it might be, this one on the left looks like it might be photoshopped, and maybe on the right too, but I sort of remember something about this. I wasn't really watching any like YouTube fitness back in 2018. I had kind of taken a break. So I remember he had like definitely slimmed down quite a bit. These both look like they're exaggerated, but yeah, it sounds like he cycled off and then decided to hop back on after he's able to get his girlfriend pregnant. And that's another side effect of steroids. You can shut down your sperm count and your sperm production.
Was during that period where I explained to y'all as well what I was going through. I was being transparent as possible in that video as well. Let's backtrack. Prison. I did 11 years in prison. Top ramen noodles, carbs, bad food, period. That, I think, was the start of having plaque buildup in the arteries. So I ate crappy for years. I looked good on the outside, you know what I mean? I would always say that my body could burn that stuff up, whatever.
Yeah, so that was another thing. He would do these like prison bulking meals. So it'd be like top ramen, I think with like chicken, or I think he had one with like chips. And he would just mix chips with like water and make this like kind of like this cake that you were supposed to eat. And it was just like garbage food. And those are like his first videos. I think if you go to his channel and look, those are his first videos. It's like prison bulking, that kind of thing. So yeah, he would always be eating this crap, and he would also do like mukbang, which if you don't know is when you film yourself eating, which I think he's been doing more recently, and you just film yourself eating like a ridiculous amount of food. So his diet was never great, and he's taking steroids. He's also massive, which is not good for your heart either. Your heart really can't tell the difference between muscle and fat. It still has to pump blood through it. So this combination of factors was just not good for him.
To muscle, all the top ramens, all the crap food. Before we do the IVF, I had a hernia surgery, and it was cosmetic. I got a physical. The doctors was mentioning some stuff about kidney off, heartbeat. My blood pressure was always high since I was a kid. Blood pressure, I ignored it. I was a pessimist with the doctors, conspiracy theorists with the hospitals and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, they just want my money. I'm looking healthy and they jealous. They trying to find something wrong with me. They was always telling the truth.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So he just kind of ignored what the doctor was telling him and thought they were trying to take his money. Now look, going to the doctor can be really expensive, surgery can be really expensive, and so can medications, but you still have to take what they're saying seriously. So it sounds like he kind of just ignored what they said and just kind of put his head in the sand. So it's really sad that he had to have a heart attack to have a wake up call from this. But the lucky thing is at least he survived and is still here because he's got a kid, he's got a wife, and you know, I mean, one of the worst things that can happen to you as a kid is to lose your father. It's just not great. So good thing he's still here.
I would ignore it. And so when we did the IVF, I did the physical same thing. Blood pressure high, not abnormally high, but high. 150 over 90 or 80, something like that. And I would say that, oh, y'all don't have a big enough arm thing to put on me. You know, you got to use the manual. So when they used the manual one, I had a perfect blood pressure. But when they used the electric one, it read high. So even to this day, now that I had this operation, all of them read normal and good. What this boils down to is that I always knew there was an issue. Oh, don't even let me tell, I forgot to tell you guys. Edema. Always had feet and ankle swelling since I started in 2009. Miles will tell you, my family will tell you, always tripping on my ankles and feet. Lately, now that I think...
Yeah, so I don't even know if that's another steroid side effect, is feet and ankle swelling. I guess it's possible. I haven't heard of that one. Maybe it's something that he had and then just his added weight gain kind of compounded on that. You know, it's tough to say. But they say that that's a sign of having heart issues too. You might have poor circulation. So something else to keep in mind.
About it, they've been hurting, and that's why I always would tell Miles, like, you know, I'm having corns and, you know, my feet hurting, and now that I think about it, it was signs. Because my feet was puffy, so it was pushing up against my shoes. The cause of the heart attack, plaque buildup in that artery, the main artery. It could take 10, 20 years to happen, which for me makes sense. When I was a kid, went to prison at 19, eating all that crap food, then compounding it years later with juice, you know what I mean? So it's a combination, man. Because I don't have a history of heart problems in my family. Doctors even told me at times my cholesterol was high. I had warning. That's the thing. I just wasn't proactive about it.
Yeah, again, so it's really sad. It sounds like he had a lot of warnings and just kind of ignored it, you know? He just thought he was doing great. He probably felt great. He's on testosterone. He's on other steroids. A lot of them can make you feel amazing, like you're on top of the world, and he just thought, I'm just going to ride this train till it comes off the tracks, so to speak. And that's kind of what happened. So
I didn't see myself and like everybody else that's dying or whatever. They know. It's just we don't want to, let me go to the doctor, make an appointment. Damn, I got to get a stent put in. I got stuff to pay for. I got to do this show, that show. I got to live. I got to work. So put it off. You know what I mean? And you can't do that, man. God definitely using me as an example, man. Oh, and I want to say, for all the people out there that think the mukbangs, let me explain the mukbangs to you. I don't eat like that, or didn't, or never in my life ate like that all day, every day. When we did those mukbangs, because a lot of people trying to put the blame on the food, which, you know, Top Ramen, I can't say the mukbangs, bro. That was like once a month. And I wasn't eating all the food all my life, so I've been conscious about my body. I wanted to look better than everybody. That's why came to Hollywood. I was getting booking most commercials, because I didn't eat crap food like that. That's how I was able to stay in shape and look good and whatnot. It wasn't the mukbangs. People doing these videos I see, it was just him doing the mukbang, bro. That was like a bite. And sometimes I spit it out. You know what I mean? Like, I can't put the blame on mukbangs.
Yeah, so he's saying that he didn't eat all the food that was in his mukbangs, and I don't know how true that is. I don't really know why he'd lie. But he definitely, back in the day, I think ate a lot of crappy stuff. Like, you know, like he was talking about with the Top Ramen, the chips, like the prison bulking. So you got to watch out for that kind of stuff, man.
If anything, I'm gonna put the blame on Top Ramen. I'm gonna put the blame on Mari Cohn and Top Ramen. Blessed and happy to be here, man. I look at my kids. That's why y'all seeing that one video, man. All I was thinking about was my kids, man. Damn, I'm not gonna be here to raise these beautiful kids, man. You know what I mean? Go have some weirdo with my baby mama after I pass. You know what I mean? Raising my kids, man. Yeah, man. I hope y'all learn from this. All the bodybuilders out there, my advice: get checked, and when you get checked, what they tell you, go get it done. Ain't nobody talk to us like how I'm talking to us right now. You a bodybuilder? If you've been on juice 3, 4, 5 years, boy. And because I'll tell you, I took pride in saying I took the less stuff possible. And y'all take it, boy. I'm telling you, man, go get the physical, get checked out, have them do a CAT scan, pay. Y'all, I know y'all already broke, but go ahead and borrow some money from somebody. Go borrow some money, get your physical. If you got to get a stent put in, get it. If they tell you your arteries clogged, which they are, I don't care. Y'all taking protein powders, weight gain, roids, hella food. Yo, it's packed.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. He doesn't really get into like what he took specifically when he was blasting, cruising, when he was trying to compete in bodybuilding or just getting really big for YouTube and for social media. So, you know, definitely take this as a lesson, guys. Like, if you're going to do that stuff, make sure you get checked. Make sure you go to the doctor, get your bloods done, all that sort of stuff. And if you get a warning, if the doctor tells you something's wrong, take it seriously. Don't just, like, sweep it under the rug. You know, there's been a lot of pro bodybuilders that have died in the last month. You had ex-Mr. Olympia, or Mr. Olympia, Sean Roden. He died last week. He was only 46, I think, something like that, mid-40s. You had George Peterson, who was one of the top competitors in classic physique. He died. And there's been multiple other people that have died in the last year. You know, it's really sad. Now, a lot of it is the steroids. That can really affect your heart. You know, you can get left ventricular hypertrophy. It can increase your bad cholesterol, leading to plaque buildup in your arteries and your veins. And, you know, obviously that's not good, but a lot of it also is the size. Like, these guys are packing on a lot of size. They have to eat a lot of food, you know, and a lot of times to get that big, you can't just eat clean food all the time. You know, they're eating junk food, they're eating fast food, stuff that's not really the best for you. And like he said in the video himself, you know, you might look really good on the outside, but if you're not getting checked up, you might have some serious problems on the inside that you don't even know about because, you know, you don't know. You haven't gone to the doctor. And you might feel great, but you might have high blood pressure or plaque buildup, things of that nature. So, anyways, I'm glad he's okay now. I hope he can address the issues he's got, you know, and I hope he's around for a long time because, like I said, he's got a kid, he's got a daughter, and I think he's a good person overall, even though he did hide his steroid use back in the day. Now, why he did that? First off, it's an illegal substance. You know, you're not supposed to take it. So it's kind of only a new phenomenon within the last year, maybe 2 years, where people are kind of admitting what they've done. You know, before that, supplement companies wouldn't want you to admit that you've taken anything. And like I said before, it's illegal. So you don't really want to risk getting in trouble with the police, with the authorities. So, yeah, I don't really, like, 100% blame him for hiding it. It's definitely not the most ethical thing to do because if you claim that you're natural and you're just jacked and you're huge and shredded, people, kids, teenagers will look up to you and think that's possible without taking anything. You know, they might not know any better. And then they might get like some sort of body dysmorphia from seeing that on social media and seeing that on YouTube and whatnot. And they get upset that they can't achieve that look. You know, they don't progress that quickly, which is, you know, it's obviously an enhanced progression, and they're gonna, you know, develop some sort of body dysmorphia. So it's definitely a fine line. There's also the fact that like if you admit what you take and how much, you might also get some people that try to copy you, and then they could have some serious health consequences too, and you might have some sort of responsibility in that. So, like I said, it's kind of a touchy ethical subject. I can kind of see both sides why you would want to keep it secret and why you would want to admit to it. Anyways, again, glad he's okay, and I'm glad that he is still around. So, if you liked the video, if you made it this far, hit the like and subscribe for more. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.